these issues, we must be given a platform where we can market and sell some. We are in a better position to advise the government. And the same thing applies with the appointment of senior advocates. You find out that some of these, the people that decide who gets this and who does not get this, whoever decides that these are people that are not in law practice. I think lawyers should be given more role in issues that affect lawyers.
But if lawyers don't speak up, who else will?
We're already agitating a lot of issues, but of course you know the color of the way things are here. That there's a way you carry these things. Of course you know that psychologically and technically you put yourself in a black book. And that settles your fate in the industry. So you have to, the agitation must be predicated on very strong facts. And people have been very stylish and very cosmetic about that because they are scared that if you move too fast, that the hammer will be there waiting for you. But we believe that in the fullness of time, some of these things must change.
You know, some Nigerians actually saw this coming. That was why some advocated that you can as well look into petitions that are anonymous. But the way and manner it's been going in the judiciary, they say if you bring maybe an anonymous petition, it will not be looked into. So for everyone on that day giving that big ovation for the outgoing judge, it was just because he was going out.
Because he was going out.
So why is it?
He reflected their sentiments.
So why is it so hard and
most
difficult
importantly,
for anyone
so
there to speak up and say it the way it is?
No, of course, you know, the bar, even the bench is more conservative than the bar. So that is the challenge. People expect you to do. If you see the way things are being done, of course, if you x-ray the activities of the Nigerian Bar Association, it's even more comical at this point. You find out that over the years we've been attending NEC meetings as observers, because we go there and if things are going wrong, you said. Today, within the past 2 or 3 NEC meetings, I understand that the present president of the NBA has now cut short that ambience, and now the only people that are effectively authorized to attend NBA meetings are NEC members. So you stay in your branch. When they come back, they now tell you what the position is, and that justifies the what I call a very, very frivolous increase in our practicing fees. The reason has always been that we pay more than that when we are traveling, going outside to attend bar conferences or what is obtainable there, but they've failed to realize that the average income of a lawyer who is practicing in Nigeria cannot be equated to what a lawyer who is in UK or a lawyer who is in America earns. So these are the issues, and if we allow this to go on after some time, it becomes a huge challenge, because one is that it will be difficult for you to change the system from outside, and it will also be difficult for you to get inside and effect any change, because the machinery staying from outside now, you can predict the way the leadership of NBA is going. You can say who is going to be the next person.
Very quickly, let's talk about the fight against corruption. For the past 2 years till this moment, how do you rate this present government in the fight against corruption?
Well, I must say that the campaign on the part of the executive has been somehow watered down.
In comparison to other administration before this?
Yes, but it is also important that we have to look at what has been obtainable in the past, because there's no way we can effectively assess this government without looking at the past regimes. And if you bring all that into the political equation, then you have no other option than to score this government high. But I think that what is important is the fact that we have to, consolidate and strengthen the structures. What we have seen in the past, like during the Obasanjo era, you see consolidation of individuals and not the structures. When you talk about NAFDAC, you find out that the name NAFDAC is technically synonymous with Professor Dora Akunyili. And that the perception is that once Dora Akunyili leaves NAFDAC, NAFDAC becomes comatose. The same thing with the Ribadu institution and the EFCC. But the reverse should be the case. You should concentrate on the institution. And you must have an effective, well-ordered, technically sound succession plan. But when you don't have all this, when Dora Akunyili leaves, you bring in somebody from another institution who has no, prior to that, coming to that place, had no prior engagement with the institution. The same thing with the leadership of the EFCC. ICPC, well, these are all organizations. But what I expect the government to do now is to strengthen these institutions and then to bring their activities before the public, so that the public will know what these people are doing and also know when you can approach them. Because the challenge we have is that most people, when they have challenges of this nature, they don't know where to go to. What is EFCC doing? And of course, you know that in an organization like EFCC, it is technically unacceptable to allow officers to be there for 15, 20 years. Doing what? EFCC is an extension of the Nigeria police. Some of these people must be, the structure must be overhauled in such a way that they will be very, very effective. And that is not being done.
Give us your assessment of this fight against terrorism now with respect to the laws. Have we done enough, or you think that, of course, there are much more that we can do in terms of what we do with terrorism suspects, how the law helps the state to fight terrorism?
Well, you see, what we must point out at this point is that the issue of terrorism is an international phenomenon. And the government has a gamut of laws, both locally and internationally, that allows it to move head-on against some of these individuals and organizations. And of course, my take on that is that this present government in this campaign has done beautifully well. But the only snag is that this campaign started very late. And of course, he gave the so-called organizations enough time for them to consolidate their positions, because there was an absolute failure of intelligence. Because if we have a functional intelligence community network here, we should have known about the movement of some of these people, especially from neighboring countries.
But how can we say absolute? Isn't that supposed to be a relative term?
Yes, given the resistance we are the government is encountering now.
But the world over, because
I remember then.
And the number and the strength of ammunition at their disposal shows that there was no intelligence.
Yeah, let me remind you, because I remember then we had Marilyn Oga then, long time ago, and they were the first, if I'm not mistaken, to say, well, they perceived some kind of links with other terrorist groups. But now we're getting to see everything unfolding now right before our very own eyes. Perhaps such intelligence, are you saying that they were never looked into when they came before the nation?
Well, I'm not in a position to know what transpired before the engagement started. But I will give you one classical example. The first physical combat involving the Nigerian security agencies took place in the General Buhari's community. So how do you isolate members of that community from the fact that these people have been amongst them? So because when we are talking about intelligence, I don't expect the government to be magical in its operational logistics. But I also expect support from Nigerians. Because for any effective security agency to be extremely effective, the way we expect it to be, there must be massive support from the populace.
Yeah,
but that is not being done. So that places a lot of challenge on the Nigerian security agencies. And I think what is on the ground now, they have done beautifully well. And I expect that they should sustain this, and that the National Assembly should be disposed to extend this beyond 6 months, because these people should be clearly removed from the system.
What do you think about the election of the Nigeria Governors Forum and the way things are turned out?
Well, I think it remains a huge comical relief to Nigerians that the governors, about 36 of them, could not organize a free and fair election, and that even if they did, that the outcome of that election is still being contested. And what I find ironical is the comments being made by some of these governors. You see, and particularly the governor of Rivers State, I take very strong exception in some of his comments. I have nothing against him as an individual, but I think the president of this country demands some measure of respect. And if you are making references to the president, the law allows you to be critical on issues, but you don't make such personal comments. I think these are issues they have to look into. They should be more organized. They should put their hearts together, and of course have somebody who should lead them.
Did you see the video of how the elections went?
Yes, I saw a glimpse of that. I saw a glimpse of that. And of course, you see, the challenge is not who won. The challenge is why are we now saying, why are two groups saying, serving governors? That gives you an inkling as to what will happen in 2015. If a group of 36 governors could come together and hold an election and two people will come out as winners, it means that